Hello and welcome back to This or That, presented by Verizon, with Kobe and Jat.
Yeah.
And a little switcheroo action.
Yeah. Kobe thinks that should be the thing that's far away from you, and it's gonna mess him up if this is right next to him.
If you're referring to two things as this and that, this will always be the thing that's closer to you. Anyways, let's start the slides and see if he messes it up. Slide number 1. Which mid is scarier to face right now? VicLa or Gory? I gotta go with Gory.
I'm gonna go
7-game win streak?
With that, because that's what the slide says, regardless of if it's closer to me or not. But it's because they're on a 7-game win streak. It's because he's popping off with almost every champion. Him, River, and Huhi have incredible synergy at the moment, and Stixxay's popping off in team fights. So this team is the hottest team in the LCS, and Gory's a big part of why.
Yeah, honestly, that one was easy. Number 2.
VicLa is really good, but Gory's just been exceptional. This or that.
Was Annie
it's from
sleeper power pick before the buffs, or buffed from 0 to OP?
Oh, that's interesting, because a lot of people were hyping up like, oh, random Annie top, random Annie support.
Yeah, Annie is OP now because of the buffs.
Yeah.
That is the answer.
The shield has a super low cooldown and just kills other people now. So I'm gonna go with that.
For sure. Good question from Bobzor. More refreshing draft mix-up. IMT's Misfortune pick, Cloud9's Rengar pick is way more out there.
Yeah, I like the Cloud9's Rengar pick specifically because it was pre-planned to have TSM first pick the Elise. They knew that Boogie was gonna pick it if it's open, especially with Maokai banned. It was a bait and switch. They throw the Rengar in there. Misfortune is just there because, like, you know, maybe we can beat Zeri or Lucian with it, and it just didn't work as well.
There's just so much more that's different about Rengar than other junglers versus Misfortune being different from other AD carries as well.
Do you just never say this or that? You're just pointing to things?
I point to the slide.
It's that.
I'm choosing. I'm choosing Rengar.
This or that. Which team places higher at the end of the regular season split? Golden Guardians or Cloud9? Oh. Current standings, Golden Guardians, 7-game win streak, 4 losses. Cloud9, 8 wins, 3 losses?
Get your phone, quick!
Based on the statistics, I'm gonna go with that. And I think M&S is gonna scale. I love the cape sweater. I think that was a really good outfit choice.
The way that he wore his sweatshirt, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you see how it's a cape?
I do.
I'm down
Stylish.
for irregular
superhero, huh?
Yeah.
So it's superhero action. But Golden Guardians, such a good story. I mean, I have to go with Cloud9 also. You get this feeling when you're on too big of a win streak, it's gonna crumble. It's going to crumble.
7 wins is a lot of wins.
That's getting too big. The risk is too high.
All right, easier case for All-Pro in their role is Dokla or Luger. Easier case, not do you have him in All-Pro.
Oh, man. Okay, well, All-Pro is just top 3. So it's not like Prince fully just takes over and you're not allowed to play at all.
So Prince is there. You almost have to kind of run down the list.
Prince and Berserker, I feel like.
Yep.
And then Luger, you can make the case.
You can.
For number 3. I think for sure. For top lane, you've got Fudge Impact,
and
Someday.
And Dokla.
And Dokla.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could make the case for either. Easy.
Well, what is it, Kobe? The name of the game is that. It's this. Dokla. It's very simple. You just say what's on the slide. All right, next slide, this or that. Are you on board for the enemy's hype train? 1 ticket, please, or not quite yet. NMS. Enemies.
You confused me. I was like, excuse me, what's...
It's the glare.
Yeah. M&S, Why, it looks like they're putting us waiting for the train right here.
Yeah, because we're not...
I've got a bit of a paunch going here on this as well.
You are.
As far as the train goes, I got on kind of early because I also looked at some Champions Queue games.
Right, so, okay.
So I'm
What's
on.
your opinion on this? He was like 1-6 yesterday on Victor, had a great LeBlanc game.
Yeah.
What is more true to M&S?
The LeBlanc game.
Then you're on the hype train.
LeBlanc is way more of an M&S champion.
1 ticket, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm this. I'm actually all about it. I like what Blabber says about him. I like watching him in Champ Q. But honestly, if there is behind-the-scenes stuff, it could blow up in their face, but that's why I love to see it. More feels good, man. This Dig getting their first win, or that
on.
Eyla finally arriving.
It's gotta be this. Eyla had a rough first game. It's gotta be Dignitas getting their first win. This was almost historically bad, Jett. This was on the precipice of the worst LCS start ever.
Yeah.
And they get their win. And they gave a little heart attack in the middle too. They threw it a little bit at the Nexus to make it real fun.
I'm now anxiously awaiting the next team to hit 0-9 because that was one of the most exciting games of the split. Dignitas' fight to not go 0-10.
How Jensen rose to be this hero, winning the entire game for them, and then dies at the Nexus and they almost lose everything. Yes, it was definitely a roller coaster.
All right, full agreement right there. That's a wrap for This or That with Kobe and Jett. Remember to send us your suggestions in the YouTube comments. We used one of them this time. I don't know how many we're gonna use next time.
That could be you.
If they give 7 good suggestions, we have 7 slots.
Hey, yo, back to the LCS stage. Are you like this and I'm that in this scenario then? Like in the context of the screen?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't paying enough attention to know which side was which, but I guess so.
Yeah, so we got this caster in Azael.
I thought you said I was that, so. It's harder than it looks.
This caster Azael and that caster Gabby. All right, we got it. Anyways, they were just talking about Dignitas and FlyQuest a little bit, which is the exact match that we are getting into here today. Not gonna lie, very different thoughts on this matchup earlier when we were talking about these matches until we saw what happened yesterday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's obviously there are very different ends of the standings. But Dignitas got a win. You know, they're on the board. They both won the same amount of games this weekend. So who's to say? Eyla coming back yesterday, I think had a bit of a rougher game. You know, didn't look as dominant as perhaps he was hoping on his kind of first outing with FlyQuest. But that's to be expected, I think, a little bit. You know, he hasn't been able to play with the team. They spent the entire first 9 games playing with Winsome, and he just finally gets the sub back in. So I think, you know, whether or not it is super clean, they're going to be happy if they can actually get away with a win here and just have a successful first weekend with Eyla.
I agree. I think when coming into it, you always have that thing to think about. Hey, what'll happen if we bring someone in? It's a very short amount of time. We're maybe benefited a little by not having the 9-0 pressure. You know, we took a loss, so taking a little bit of that off, but let's see how we adjust. And even though there were some difficulties, I think it does a lot for the win.
Please no Lucian Nami. I'm begging you.
There's no Lucian.
We'll see if they lock it. I'm not going to get baited just yet, but yeah, I mean, I think the other thing that's really nice for Dignitas is that they didn't just get a random win. They actually made a roster swap and then got a win. So I do think that can breathe a little bit of a breath of fresh air. I'm not to say that everything was Spawn's fault, because it's not. The team has a lot of issues very clearly. But bringing in a new player can be a little bit of a release. Can be okay. Something is different, right? Like you can get that honeymoon phase a little bit sometimes if you can start doing well. So I do think that'll help the mental quite a bit. And it is going to be Varus, so it's not just them opting into Lucian Nami, which I strongly do feel is that losing draft. So happy to see that Prince is going for a different angle here. And this would actually be interesting. If he goes Lulu, I wonder if it's just going to be on hit Varus then. That's kind of what I might expect. I've seen Prince playing that in Champions Queue as well. So that'll be interesting to see now where Dignitas wants to go. Do they want to go towards like a range support that's actually strong in lane? Do they want to go in Enchanter matchup? A lot of people have actually picked Soraka in these kind of situations, which can be pretty strong. But IgNar is such an engaged guy that I wonder if he'll kind of like buck the trend and try to do something a little bit different.
I think that was one of the biggest questions when IgNar came through, seeing what he would do. But here, Wukong and Annie locked in for Dignitas.
So it is a flex, but I'm kind of guessing that it's going to be an IgNar pick just because it feels very much like his style. Not to say that Jensen couldn't play it. I wouldn't be shocked if he was playing it, but I do think that would kind of fit something that is both in the meta and what IgNar would like to play. You know, like looking for flanks, looking for these engages, that sort of style. And it's a return of Spica's Amumu, which has been a while actually since he played it, but won both the games on it, brought it out in the earlier weeks of the LCS. I still think he's one of the only guys who's really been playing it, even like globally in jungle. So it is kind of cool that he has it as this pocket pick.
And it overall fits so well into what Spica has been offering for this FlyQuest squad. Yes, he's a very diverse jungler, but he has no problem coming in, being on that tank duty, getting that engage for the team. A lot of Sejuani, a lot of Maokai, and then this Amumu serving a very similar purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, he just wants to win, right? And he's going to play whatever he thinks is actually best for the team to win. And thus far, it has been about just enabling his carries. When you have VicLa, Impact, and Prince, as your carries, you don't really need to be the guy to actually carry the game. You just need to kind of create space, especially Prince has just been on another planet in a lot of these games. He's been so good, so consistent. I do love the Sylas ban. You cannot be giving a stolen Amumu all over to a Sylas. That is one of those things you have to really protect. And then I do wonder if they're going to throw another ban here towards junglers, or excuse me, not towards junglers, but towards top lane, or if they're going to throw towards mid lane here. Are they respecting this Annie pick as a potential mid, or are they just saying no, for sure it's playing support?
So for FlyQuest taking Sion for their last ban here against Dignitas. And I think with that Annie, if this Annie is over towards the bot lane for IgNar, it's something you like to see when you're looking against Varus, how immobile he can be, really catch him out when winding up them Qs. If you can get that stun or that lockdown or really burn him down because of the range that Annie offers, it's a great advantage.
Yeah, definitely there's that potential to try to burst him down, especially with the Wukong coming in at the same time. I would expect Prince is going to be playing Cleanse, pretty much guaranteed if it is that Annie support. So that is something that he'll have to contend with, plus all of the shields and potential summoner heal and whatnot that is going to be on the Lulu, so that can make things a little bit more difficult to go through. Gallia would be really interesting, but I doubt we're going to get it. Renekton makes sense as just a kind of safe blind top. We'll have to see what Armut wants to go towards. He's been such a Jace guy lately, it feels like, but not a lot of his Jace games have really been kind of translating to wins. He also really likes Jax, so I'm guessing it's either going to be Jax or Jace, but they are kind of really lacking frontline, so there is potential for him to kind of buck that trend and go towards something a little bit different here too. This would guarantee that it is support, Andy.
Which is why I think when you're looking at bans like that Sion and you're looking at what Dignitas has been bringing through, you say, they do need that tank. Let's try and pick off some of the more popular ones as of late. And then for Dignitas saying, Jensen, guess what? You're a pretty good Orianna.
Yeah. I mean, career-wise, this has been his best champion, I think. When you look at Jensen's career as a whole, he has been so good on it, yeah. Almost a 74% win rate with 91 games on the Orianna. He's been on some really good teams. Oh, this is actually really cool. We saw Letigress, I think, do this. Was it into the Jax or the Renekton? I can't remember, but it is going to be that Olaf top coming out here for Armut, getting a little bit aggressive here. Bit of a spicy pick, something that actually can really scrap with the Renekton. It is a pick that you definitely want to play from ahead with. We sometimes saw the Orianna Olaf pairing in the LCS, but it was often with Olaf jungle. It can kind of give you that ability to have more effectiveness later on in the game because you get those shields, you get those speed ups from the Orianna, helps you to fly into that back line alongside the Wukong, alongside the Annie. And this is one of those comps that really kind of only can do one thing. It goes forward, it hard engages, and you try to create that space for Tomo to take over the fight on the Zeri. And on the other side, VicLa going to be answering here with an assassin. So his job is going to be more about, getting not so much just 100-0ing the AD unless he's super fed, but more kind of as Dignitas' frontline engages, he runs back towards the backline and you kind of create this zone of control with your Shroud to make it difficult for the carries to really follow up on that dive. So you're kind of trying to segment out those Dignitas frontliners with this Akali. And the way that you have to teamfight on it is very, very interesting. So it's going to be a fun one to watch. The Amumu also answered pretty well here, by this Olaf, that immunity to the ult that you can actually throw down. So gonna be a fun one.
I think so too. When you have this comp for Dignitas really running at them, making that face, and then you're looking at that Akali looking to be that ship in the night in a sense to get over towards the back. How does Dignitas respond to that? But we'll have to see going into this game. And especially when you look at picks like the Olaf, second time for Armut bringing it through, a little bit of a divergence from what we've seen him in total, but still something he's been a bit warmed up on for the year as we get into the Rift.
Yeah, it is one of those picks that you see a decent bit in the LEC. Adam's really well known for it. Broken Blade, I believe, has been playing it some as well. So there are a number of guys that do play it over there, and it's kind of one of those more niche picks. But I always love when players can really just kind of champion a different style, right? And bring that to the forefront and show that even though this is not meta, it's actually really strong if you're really comfortable on those champions. Because oftentimes, a lot of people just autopilot so heavily on the meta that they're not even comfortable in these matchups, right? Like, if you play a lot of Olaf top, guess what? You're gonna play against a lot of Renekton. But just because you play against a lot of Renekton doesn't mean you're gonna play against any Olaf top, right? There's a lot less people that are actually piloting this champion up there, especially at the pro level. So it is going to be a fun one to watch, and Armut is playing Ghost, so no TP can sometimes draw that attention of junglers up there. Not that Spica is really on a strong ganking jungler here on the Amumu whatsoever, but if you can even force someone to take a bad base when you're playing top lane without TP, it can get really, really rough, but do love this. Threatening the invade here on Amumu. Push him out. Olaf very strong at level 1 with these axes. Is FlyQuest going to try to fight for this? I mean, Impact is around, but he's got to be careful too. If you get tagged by the X, they can potentially just kind of chase him out of here.
Gets hit
Oh
by
God,
one
this is bad.
axe, and Impact kind of knows he's in a little bit of danger. Santorin sticking around for the clear, and Impact just slowly walking back. Look at how much damage he's taking on the output. Yes, he keeps his flash and all that, but still so much pressure.
Yeah, no, I gotta actually check. Did he actually zone him off XP there? I think he did. He missed some of the experience. So Armut, yes, he misses the minions himself, but he does not miss XP. So that is what he was doing there. That is why he wasn't actually going for the minions. If the observers can click on Renekton, so we see his XP now. Now, if you can click on Armut, you'll see how ahead he is in experience. So it's gonna be at least 2 of the melees that he actually missed XP off of. Santorin, though, oh no.
Ooh, flashed over the wall to get away from Spica, and Armut is here, but Impact is on the tail as well. Low on down, Impact flashing forward for the first blood. Gets some damage back from Armut, and Jensen's on the way, but again, it's both mid laners coming through the fray. Impact another kill, double. Jensen looking to finish it off and able to escape the 2-for-1 over on this top side. Oh my, and the flash to connect. The lockdown with the bandage and more.
FF, get out. Get out now. It's only pain and suffering. After that, oh my God. Oh, I don't even know what to say. Like the amount of the disappointment you have as a top laner when your jungler gets killed by an Amumu is just immeasurable. Like after this start, Armut zones him off XP. He's feeling so good. But the problem is not this. We need to be watching the junglers. How the hell did Spica just slap up the Wukong? Armut has to come down here, but he's still level 1 and he's basically so he can't really do much. Impact flashes in, picks up the first blood, and this is so sad. I mean, Impact is so incredibly low. He gets both the kills. Jensen has to flash in to get it, but oh God, he's dead again, and he's got no TP.
We're back to the butcher's block, and Olaf is right on it. That's a lot of
brutal, man.
Yeah, because it was. I mean, you were pointing out what Armut was doing so well in that isolated matchup. And then now the punishment that FlyQuest has dished out over on that top side.
I really want to see what the hell happened between these junglers. You know, like how did that actually go that bad? Was it that Santorin was on Raptors or something and Spica caught him while he was tanking the Raptors? And like, how did he actually win that 1v1 so heavily that he is bullying him out of the river? Because in an isolated 1v1 from that point, it's actually really hard to play the lane as Renekton. But now, I mean, he has 3 kills. The buy for Armut is a refillable, and on the other side, he already has a pickaxe, and he has 900 more gold in pocket. So he's gonna be like double his net worth basically at this point. In fact, he is double his net worth. All right, so let's watch this one more time. So Spica gave up on trying to actually defend. He comes over here, does the wolves, and then I guess he must have just got over there, and he probably wins the smite. Yeah, he probably wins the smite here. He knows that where Santorin is. He actually saw him poke out of there, so he goes in. Yeah, wins the smite, and then it's just red buff here. Santorin was tanking the red buff, so already had lost half his health. Then you lose that smite, so you just can't actually take the fight. So that is a devastating lost smite fight there, which honestly, assuming this game goes to chalk and plays out somewhat reasonably, that decided the game. Like, that's rough, but that's how it is. When you play these no TP top laners, if your lane goes bad, it becomes so unplayable so fast.
My, how the tables have turned for the intentions of Dignitas in the top lane. FlyQuest really wrangling him out, and Spica with that fast rotation and punishing Santorin in his own jungle side. But here on the bot side, a lot of poke back and forth. Prince throwing down the hail of arrows to try and zone off Tomo, who goes down. Prince very low himself, flashes away. One little auto, tries to connect with the Q, but there you have it. The finish off is good. FlyQuest extending leads on both sides of the map.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to see that. I mean, Prince is starting with a cull as greedy as you can get down on this bottom side, and they still get 2 kills in the 2v2. Both of them on Eyla, which is definitely not what you would have wanted, but still, FlyQuest gonna be feeling so good about this start. It's not even 6 minutes and they're 3K up here. Look at the bias between Renekton and Olaf. This is so brutal. We can see it one more time. IgNar just charging up the stun here, goes forward. You know, as soon as that shield is down, he sees a window of opportunity to try to get really aggressive, but he spent the stun onto Eyla. He spent most of his damage onto Eyla. His W actually missed there, unfortunately. I didn't catch that when it was live. You know, IgNar's W missed. Otherwise, potentially he would have actually at the very least killed off this Varus. He does flash out that piercing arrow, so able to not give over the kill to Prince, but he still does end up dying off. Prince still gets a great buy, and that is going to go to worse here as it's 6-1, 6 minutes in.
So if you're Dignitas right now, you're thinking, you know, there's a lot that just happened. What do you
If I'm on
think?
Dignitas, I'm thinking, well, at least I have tomorrow off.
Oh no!
I mean, this is a rough game. Realistically, how are you going to come back? Oof. I mean, I think you're looking for the perfect engages, right? You're looking for a shockwave from Jensen. You're hoping that Jensen can have a great game. He picked up 1 kill on top side. You know, maybe he can farm to a point where you can find that explosive engage and get back in it.
See if they can get this kill onto Spica. That's one way to start kicking things off, and they do exactly that. Prince and Eyla cannot stand up against the rest, and Santorin with a gap closer manages to set it up for Tomo to get the kill onto Prince. VicLa is here and has his eyes set on Tomo, who's zoned out of the fight, and under the Twilight Shroud, Jensen is in pursuit, throws down the ball and sees if IgNar can follow up here, but no stun available. Ooh, another close one, but Prince getting the trade there. Dignitas coming up with some kills.
Yeah, they do take down Prince. You know, they capitalize on those missing flashes, so well done. Was that shuriken flip just away from killing off Tomo? VicLa couldn't connect with that. You know, Tomo flashes out away from it. You can see the trade of ultis there. Armut trying to get aggressive because he knows he can't just sit back and farm in these kind of matchups. You know, when you are playing this Ghost Flash Olaf, you want to play aggressive. But Impact just pops his own ulti in response, backs it up, and once that ulti expires there from Armut, he knows he can no longer go forward. And the early tabbies from Impact make that kind of an all-in almost impossible to do because he is just so far behind the curve. When you take that base, you're going to lose another full wave. So here it is again. Spica didn't quite have his flash. You can see the flash timer's lying to you a little bit because it's cooling down very quickly. So he almost had his flash when he did go down, but he was missing that. The cleanse was really nice there on the polymorph from Tomo. And Jensen faster on the roam, so it's these kind of plays that they will need. If they can get a lot of these sorts of plays, there are going to be opportunities for them to come back into the game. But a good stun from IgNar out there onto VicLa, and then just a nice sidestep it was actually from Tomo, and then the flash on the Q there does keep him alive, but he is going to be missing those summoners now. And Prince will have his ulti very shortly, so that is something that FlyQuest could look to try to capitalize on here, try to punish Tomo for those missing sums.
With that flash almost up and teleport up for Impact. VicLa getting his soon in a moment's time. If you are looking at Dignitas' side and what Jensen was doing in that moment, it reminds you, oh yeah, Jensen was quite the hero of their victory yesterday in the way that he was able to play. Now on an extremely powerful pick for himself, I think that it said 56 and 16 or something like that for his record on Orianna.
Yeah, I mean, he's been incredible on Orianna throughout his career, and I think even in a lot of their losses, he was kind of that glimmer of hope for them in many cases. You know, not always able to get it done, but had been proactive. I still think Jensen is a very strong player and did have an incredible Azir game yesterday to be able to get them that win, to avoid the 0-10 start, which would have been historic for the wrong reasons for Dignitas, so they're obviously really happy about that. I have to give some credit as well to Tomo and IgNar, who I think are laning quite well. You know, yes, they did lose out in that 2v2, but still, you know, staying even here to Prince, and Prince now in a bad spot, no flash.
Santorin, the first one to go on it, and the stun up is good. Santorin with a kill, credit. So FlyQuest losing their bot laner.
That was actually so nice. It's such a good read from Santorin because they knew that they were actually starting up on the dragon. So he just waited in Tribrush until Prince walks out to try to join that dragon and just gets a freebie on him as he's actually rotating over. So really nice read here. Smart stuff from Santorin. And, you know, I may have spoken too soon. FlyQuest still in a really good lead, but Dignitas definitely not rolling over here. They are fighting back. They're trying to find these windows of opportunity to make things happen. The top lane is definitely going to be Sadness. Like, this is not going to change. I think it's pretty unplayable for Armut after this happened. But, you know, in a 2v1, you know, maybe you can make some magic happen.
You know, maybe we'll come out with a new Gnar skin or something to put a smile on his face. Armut taking some swings there, and yeah, that top lane is kind of going to be its own thing from here on out with that early lead that Impact had acquired. We're talking about Jensen historically, how good he has been, and I think that's why when you're looking at names like Jensen and like Santorin, who also just made a very intelligent move, you think, this team, they have to be able to capitalize upon something in their arsenal, right? Is it that strategic nature, the way that veterans can pull upon all of that experience to make these intelligent plays? How can they get the rest of the team shore up? But all right, now it's FlyQuest that are looking for the potential play. They've got the wave push here over on bot. Dignitas aware of this, so they're handing over some plates.
Yeah, they're gonna have to give up the plates, but Herald is also there, so this gets a lot more rough. They were intelligent to back it up, though, because Spica already has the Demonic Embrace done, and he has his ulti available. Now he's going to look for a fight here.
Taking some damage here in the jungle. Tipper's thrown on down. Santorin goes down as well at the hands of VicLa. Spica gets out safely, and FlyQuest picking up that singular kill means that they get prio over towards this dragon side. Spica fairly low, though, and has to worry about it.
Yeah, he is quite low. We'll see if they want to start it up. It doesn't look like it just yet. Prince feeling pretty safe to just walk here by himself. You know, Tomo does have the ulti, but IgNar does not have his available and has no flash. So I think Prince is feeling like he is pretty safe. There's not really much of a chance of him actually being in too much trouble. You can see him just trading aggressively. He is going towards shield bow. So as expected, you know, when they locked in Lulu, I assumed it was going to be on hit, and it is going to be very likely that shield bow and the rage blade and the wit's end, you know, full on hit style. To try to survive a lot of the dives. You can see he even went towards the early tabbies, has a couple early deaths here, and wants to be able to respect that.
So FlyQuest now with a 4K gold lead. Not quite the 6, but still quite a formidable one here after 12 minutes. First dragon under their belts. So I think feeling pretty good considering some of the early playmaking that Dignitas was looking at prior.
Absolutely. I mean, Dig, I think, is doing what they can, right? The start was catastrophic. It can't really get much worse than that. So, you know, from those situations, almost every play is going to look like a losing play because it kind of is. So, you know, you have to just find those windows. You have to be confident when you do see a small opportunity to really go for it. But FlyQuest is so good, you know, even in games that are a lot closer, at actually getting advantages elsewhere. If you attack one side of the map, they're going to win out on the other because they have such good laners across the map that when they know a jungler shows bot, well, guess what? They're going to play aggressive top and they're probably going to win out because they are such strong individual players. And when you give them this gold lead on top, it makes it almost impossible to really match them. You know, you look at this Blade the Ruin King has done, plus the tabbies for impact. You know, Armut has got to play so respectful to that. And when you see that first completed item so much earlier, you almost don't even want to gank it. Because if the jungler shows up, you know it's just guaranteed you're dead.
And that's what Armut's worried about. Oh, there's Spica here. I guess I'm just going to clear out some vision. Just going to watch him while he's here with impact, taking this blue buff right now. And Spica, off of what you're saying, Azael, with these laners playing so well, it's one thing that's allowed him to shine.
Yeah.
Junglers love it when they have multiple places that they can go on the map and really flex their decision-making.
Oh, absolutely.
VicLa going for it onto Jensen. Those Spica's nearby. Doesn't quite connect, though. Jensen still goes down.
Yeah, good little sidestep on the banish toss, but it just didn't matter. Spica now looking for something more. Dig is going to 2v3.
IgNar for the stun up, and VicLa fairly low, but IgNar goes into the grave once more. Wild growth onto VicLa, who has to flash away. Santorin in sight. Prince coming in through to rain out some Qs. Manages to get the chains of corruption, but a flash away from Tomo. He's trying to find the target to focus his damage on, but instead he's the focus of the damage. VicLa coming way over the wall and more to secure the kill.
Yeah, so many kills going the way of FlyQuest there. You can't really blame Dig for trying to fight it out again. They're so far behind. You need a miracle fight in these kind of situations, and you're hoping for that way that Tomo can somehow fight it out and get a triple kill and give you some hope to actually claw back into this game. Impact now. I mean, look at that trade. Like, what are you supposed to do against that? He just cannot do anything. He's just got to sit in his tower and wait for whatever farm Impact's going to be able to be willing to give him. But when you get a chunk that low and he didn't even use his ulti, it gets really dangerous. You know, there's the threat of the dive, and that's why we see these members actually moving up on the map. You know, Jensen is moving up, Santorin is moving up. They have to, at the very least, defend the dive, but now Impact potentially could just try to get out of there.
We're walking upon Jensen, but Santorin is in the bush as well. Look at how much damage, though. They're able to get on Impact for a moment before he just heals on up and flashes out.
But this is what I'm talking about with FlyQuest. So you attack topside. What's happening mid? It's getting pushed in. What's happening bot? That's getting pushed in. They're going to take the Herald as well, right? So you're losing out in 3 places because of this kind of commitment to top. They don't really have any other options. They've got to do this, but it does make it very difficult.
So many places they look like they're in trouble, and Armut with the Ragnarok. Oh no! Armut just falling, using everything he's got. He had a flash, he had the ult, and it is that Dignitas effort saying we gotta keep trying and punching back, but sometimes the punches just hit concrete.
Yeah, they're just not hitting hard enough, right? That's that gold diff. They did see that, you know, the ulti plus the flash was both forced off Impact. So Armut says, okay, I know I'm way behind, but he's missing these resources. I maybe have a window here. And I think he would have got him. But Spica shows up, you know, bails him out, has that coverage there. And again, VicLa getting solo turret gold down on bot side. He already has 4 kills. Now he's going to be even more fed. But, you know, when you talk about Spica and having these options, yeah, when your lanes are all pushing, when your lanes are all winning, you're never really scouted. Like, look at the map. Where's the furthest forward ward, right? Those are the only wards really from the dig side. So there's no vision at all across the river, really. So Spica is going to be able to show up wherever he wants. He's able to look for these aggressive invades because his lanes are pushed up to the enemy tower, so they can actually come and assist him if he is in trouble. And that's kind of the jungler's dream. When you have winning lanes, you have so many different opportunities and so many different ways to play out the game. And Santorin, unfortunately for him, you know, they are in this difficult situation where your options are limited. You're getting tracked on camps. They have a much better idea of where you may be, so he's got to be much more creative in the way that he tries to attack this game.
Spica has been handed a buffet, and the rest of the team says, hey, we'll be your bib if you start to, like, spill a little over. Santorin's like, I am in intermittent fasting mode, and I'm just looking for when I can get that first meal. When's it gonna come?
Just anything.
Yeah,
give him something.
A little snack, you know, lettuce, like, that helps expand the stomach for future stuff. I don't know, I learned that in some kind of weird competitive eating thing, but don't mind me. I do like what you're saying, though. Dignitas, even though it looks sad when it doesn't quite connect, they are still trying to go for something like right here, but getting polymorphed on the entry.
Oh!
Now Spica, look at the play that's going his way. VicLa here for the follow-up as well. Dignitas, they lose Tomo and they lose pressure here around mid.
Yeah, Spica uses the Q, taxis in, then flashes forward, hits the ulti on 2, and now VicLa hunting. Looking to see if he can catch any stragglers there. Jensen far enough back, knows that there could be that potential flank. Notice that we had the ball on the bottom side, so he's covering that. And he's playing towards that side, knowing that he can only be surprised from the top. So he does stay safe, but it is a small win, of course, as FlyQuest completely running away with this game. 8.5K, 18 minutes in. It's an absolute stomp. The Rage Blade's already done here for Prince. And VicLa's got to have his second item pretty soon. He's got 1K in pocket, so he's definitely working his way towards it. You know, has the components done now. Impact is probably going to go Prowlers here in this game. Like, he is so fed, and it's one of those games where you kind of just go whichever way you want with your build. And when your opponents are that far behind, and you get your full Prowlers combo off, you're going to 100-0 somebody.
And that's why FlyQuest is able to move forward so effectively like this. Spica getting the Ragnarok out of Armut and Eyla over the wall if he needs to offer any utility, but they just get that old guy running out of there.
Yeah, just keep putting that pressure on him. You're just limiting any sort of opportunity. You know, he knows Armut can never return and fight in that situation because Impact will arrive and he will just die. So all Armut can do, pop the ulti, run away. He does that. But now there's not even that opportunity for, you know, maybe Impact makes a mistake and maybe you can try to find some way back into that matchup, but you've removed that chance. So, you know, FlyQuest just kind of checking all the boxes here, pushing this game forward. And Spica even going for a second AP item. So I think they're having a little bit of fun with it here. They know they are so far ahead. They're just going to go for a full-on one-shot build. I mean, this is Sork Boots Amumu here. He's not going into the Radiant Virtue. He's going for more damage.
He really wants those bandages to slap and get on in there with the rest of the team. I mean, Dignitas in this position against FlyQuest, you see the way that they're having to move in totality across the map too. It becomes harder for, oh, never mind. It also becomes harder to survive under a turret. Armut, lovely enough for him to be able to survive behind it, but Impact is just gonna keep trying to go for that, right? He's like, I didn't get you this time, but I'll get you the next.
Yep, Armut stays safe, you know, with that W. Impact has to be a little bit respectful here. You're gonna, okay.
All right, so they got.
Okay, we're doing a little bit trolling. We're doing a little bit trolling, I get it.
The fun having expanding a bit here.
Yeah, they're having a little bit of a happy game. I mean, you just tried to dive him, you're at 5% HP, you're like, maybe we'll stay around. Olaf, he still had his ulti back up as well, so does get the 800 gold shutdown, so that's gonna be feeling pretty good. At least it's the moral victory here. We can see this one more time. Impact goes in, empowered W, ulti Q. Doesn't quite get the damage as the W came through from Armut, and then Impact just staying around. He has no business staying around. Like, Armut is half health and he has his ulti back, and he's still trying to stay and farm this wave, trying to flex on him, but just gets clapped up. Does get the shutdown there. He knows that's a bit of a silly death, and you can see the smile on his face. He knows he shouldn't have been doing that, but he does have the Prowlers now, and he is still way ahead in the individual 1v1. Shadow Flame now done as well for VicLa. Prince is working towards his third item. Looks like it's going to be a BT third, and Tomo is still trying to escape up pieces for 2.
and the whole team pulling ahead in a lot of ways. Over on Dignitas' side, they're not winning in the skirmishes. Jensen has been able to farm up formidably. It's just not matching the itemization thus yet on the opposite side. VicLa really able to slice through them anytime the setup comes through from Spica as of late.
Yeah, I mean, really the only hope for Dig is you find that miracle team fight. Everyone's grouped up. They all get hit by anti-stun. They all get hit by the Wukong ult. They all get hit by the shockwave. You're looking for that kind of a play. Realistically, that's the only way you're going to be able to really punch through, because there's just so many threats. Even Spica is going to be a big threat here. When he completes his second item, like, he's full AP. He gets in on your squishies. He can 100 to 0 them in a combo, so it is going to be very, very difficult. And that's not even to mention, you know, Prince, Impact, and VicLa, who are all super strong.
Yeah, and Tomo, of all, will be the ones that has to be careful of that lockdown. You see what happens when he gets hit by the Prince ultimate in that moment. Wasn't quite a position yet to follow up, but FlyQuest with a lot at their disposal to take out that grand threat in the back line of Dignitas, and even off of that pressure on the side, they take down this next turret.
Exactly, that's all they're really doing. They're zoning them off of that mid wave, they're pushing them away, and then Impact pushes in, takes that tier 2. Now they're over towards the Baron, but guess what? If you push in here, where's Impact gonna come from? He's already flanking you, so if they commit to this, Impact is behind you with Flash. Baron's already dead. They insta-killed it.
It's done. VicLa says, oh, I want to get into the party with Dignitas. I feel like you can see in that moment the rest of the team saying, no, it's okay. Let's back off. We have the Baron buff in tow, and FlyQuest continuing to extend their lead, 9K gold. All the dragons thus far. They have the turrets that have been knocking down in their favor, and Dignitas struggling to find openings against now a Red Bull Baron buff empowered FlyQuest.
I mean, it's so tough. The Proto Belt's even done now for Spica, so he's gonna have fun. You got Prowlers for the Renekton, you got Proto Belt for the Amumu. So they're just looking to really pad the stats here, kind of flexing on Dignitas at this point. Gonna be able to take their third straight dragon here. So they are checking all the boxes. They're making sure that they're not playing it, too fast and loose. They are playing the map really well still, but definitely I think having a bit of fun with the builds, having a bit of fun at times with the play. Impact staying around, giving over a bit of a freebie. But Dignitas is gonna have to kind of choose their moment. Likely it will be, at Seoul. They'll probably come out. They'll probably try one team fight, see if they can get something done. But if they're not careful, you could easily get dove from this kind of a gold advantage. If you stack up too heavily on one tower and Spica finds an angle, they can just dive you and kill you and start taking inhibitors right now.
Yeah, the threat that FlyQuest have pulled for themselves means that VicLa can just remain over on the top side with teleport available if some kind of lockdown comes in that way over here on this bot side. So Dignitas, they're moving within the vicinity of the few wards that they have, but look how limited that movement is.
Well, and look how far back FlyQuest is playing on this bot side. They know no one is showing on the other lanes. Look at that. They're not going to cross this lane. No one's mid. I wonder where they could be. No one's top. Wonder where they could be. It's got to be here.
Everybody's here. It's a party down bot and FlyQuest. They don't want to break open that door unless they have to. Dignitas looking to make the move for themselves. Santorin going in while his growth
double TP
goes back with the Varus ultimate, but the teleports are coming in, and as soon as Impact lands, takes a lot of damage, but slices and dices out. VicLa at the forefront.
Oh!
The stun and more. FlyQuest with a good setup, but they lose 2 of them. Dignitas chunked on down, but not brought to 0. The tower, though, in the favor of FlyQuest.
Oh my God, Spica getting the 5-man AP Amumu ult. But this is the downside of playing this build that Impact's playing. He arrives on the TP, pops ulti, and immediately has to slice out because he's almost one-shot. I mean, yeah, he has a lot of gold, but he has paper on the Renekton right now. And he's like, okay, maybe I'll buy a stopwatch. We can see the initial attempt to engage. Look at that ulti from Eyla, who has been so on point, by the way, with these ultis, denying that engage from Santorin. But then he shows up, and the immediate ulti on Impact. Impact almost insta-dies there through the ulti. And it's a great chunk of damage down onto VicLa. So even when Spica goes in, if there was any follow-up, this is just an insta-ace and everyone's dead. Like, that is thousands of damage he put out. Prince is moving forward, but Impact was out of the fight, and VicLa was very low, had used his tools to kind of retreat. So it is some shutdowns, and they do go to Tomo. So there's that small kind of glimmer, but it is 10K, and it is soul point. And you have to be realistic.
It took a little bit of polish. So what's going on for some of that shine for Dignitas, but
if you really squint, you can start seeing a way to come back.
If you really stare into the sun, then it might bring some
don't do that.
to your eyes. Yeah, no, don't need any of that here. Maybe Dignitas wants FlyQuest to stare at the sun.
Yep, they probably would. Yeah.
That That would be great for them. But I think in that, when you see Spica go in and he gets that lockdown and you see just how low some of them are, even though it didn't work out kill-wise for them, it does make you a bit weak in the knees on Dignitas for the next time you get in a scuffle with them.
I mean, if Impact or VicLa were able to follow up at all, that's instantly your whole team is dead, right? So, but it is one of those things when you're playing this kind of torpedo Renekton style, you have got to be really, really deliberate about when you go in. It is not like a full tanky gore drinker style where you can actually just TP in the back line and just walk straight into them. You've got to instantly get on someone, Prowler's Claw onto them, try to 100-0 them, and it's kind of like you're just trading your life out in a lot of circumstances, or at the very least you use your full combo, you get someone low, and then you try to just get the heck out of there because you do not have the survivability whatsoever, even when you are very far ahead.
But Dignitas do get a small moment of reprieve in the sense that they don't have that same push that FlyQuest was going for under their Baron buff, and have been trying to get some of that warding over on the top side so they can continue with some sort of movement.
It's just so tough though, because the gold lead never gets better, right? Like they're always pushing in all 3 lanes. They're always farming multiple quadrants here of the jungle. You know, Akali right here taking away the Krugs on spawn. We saw people invading on the top side, taking away these camps that are now getting checked for. So, you know, even when you're getting a couple of kills back, FlyQuest are farming 3 to 4 quadrants of the map at a time. So it is very, very difficult. Dignitas just don't have access to the same amount of gold.
And if they're looking for some place to access to try and get an advantage, you're thinking, okay, maybe set up for fights later on. But look, FlyQuest are ensuring they don't have the opportunity to do that. Dignitas here downside the middle, but Impact always over on the side so he can collapse upon them if necessary.
Oh, VicLa's behind him.
Yeah, FlyQuest ensuring that they can take all of this on. Look! Annie! Oh no! Went bye-bye pretty immediately. Ragnarok popped here for Armut. Wants to get back to the rest of the team and can. Impact also using his own ultimate. But FlyQuest, they feel good about this. VicLa just now getting into it and keeping himself at the ready to take Armut out. VicLa, the subject of the wild growth, means that he's just waiting for that opportunity to get over the wall. And Dignitas losing multiple here. It's so hard when they get bursted like that.
Yeah, I mean, Impact just gets in on top of IgNar, and he is just gone. Absolutely knocks him down. VicLa will have to be a little bit careful, but they're going to move over. They're going to try to secure this soul. Santorin may as well try to flip it. If you can get there, just try to get into the pit, see if you can steal it away, but not even going to have a chance. VicLa's zoning, and Impact's still shoving up mid. They're constantly doing all their due diligence, at all times. This is the thing that really impresses me about this team. Bot wave again pushed, top wave pushed, mid wave pushed. They're taking away camps. They're doing the objectives. They're doing all of these right things, even in what is admittedly kind of a happy game, right? They're having a little bit of fun with it. But this is one of the things that has made FlyQuest so great, is that they do all these small things continuously that create these small and small advantages over time that are building up into really, really big ones.
And it is fun seeing VicLa here on the Akali, because one of the pointers brought up, as you can see right here, looking for the angles, finds one onto IgNar. Tippers comes on down, but it's not enough. Tomo flashing out, manages to live.
Yeah, Tomo flashes out, so does VicLa. VicLa almost 1v2'd them. One more auto, one more Q, he would have had them both. He is just styling on him, has the death cap now as well. A 0-stack mage ice purchased by Spica. That's when you know you're having some fun. He didn't even have the Dark Seal stacks. He's just like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna die anymore.
Why not? Why not? Spica for sure enjoying his build path, and kind of on that point there is Prince and Eyla are pushing in. Oh, trading some sums though. Santorin on the way. Armut's trying to look for it. Prince, the subject of it all, teleport coming in for Fly. Prince has to flash away. They keep their eyes towards that back line, but Jensen gets into safe territory. FlyQuest, they want to take the objective all the while. They're wearing purple. They take the inhibitor. They bring that power elsewhere. VicLa way into the back to try to get this kill onto Armut. Goes into stasis as the follow-up. Armut now killed. FlyQuest feeling good about the pressure they brought forth. Impact fairly low though, and does have to be wary. Doesn't have any summoners or ultimate available to him, but IgNar also effectively brought out of the fight and one away from stun. Look how far VicLa goes! Oh, where are you? I'm gonna try and find you, but never mind. I'm just gonna be the one to die because my team's got the rest of this holding on strong. Impact after bringing up the PA ends up falling himself. Fun times had here by FlyQuest and friends.
Yeah, VicLa took that shuriken in with like 5% health. is straight trolling, man. They're having some fun. You can see the player cams. They're laughing about it. Having a lot of fun with this one. And even Prince's build, he just has infinite lifesteal at this point. Shield Bow, Bloodthirster, and he has another Vamp Scepter on top. So he's just walking forward into the engage here with the Lulu behind him, feeling confident that he's pretty much unkillable at this point. It is, nearly a 13K lead. Yes, Dignitas do get some kills back, but still, the Soul plus the 13K lead, you're looking at like 17,000 gold worth of stats. We're 31 minutes in. Elder's coming up here in about 3 minutes. And we'll see if Dignitas can even get there to try to have that one last hurrah.
And I'm sure it affects the feeling a bit when some of the kills and you look and you're like, why is VicLa doing that? Come in to try and get to the back. You sense the confidence with which FlyQuest is really slamming into this game, while Dignitas are...
2 pages in the book.
2? That's a short story. That ain't even a book yet.
Well, before he just had the cover, so at least he's got some pages in there now.
Just one of the book covers, not even the hard one, just that like soft thing that you put around, he's starting to...
I mean, he's almost level 18. Like, this is ridiculous. He's power farming. I think at this point he's trying to Flame Horizon Santorin is my guess. He's more concerned about that than closing out this game because he's just been farming both sides of the map non-stop. Like, this is the most farm I've seen a jungler have in a while. This is like Canyon on Grave style farm at this point.
Who knew the mummy could do it?
Yeah, well, you'll kill those camps fast if you're AP.
Mm-hmm. It's what Spica has been living for this entire game, and giving himself a little side quest as the overall quest for FlyQuest is looking good. You would say they're quest experts in a way. 12.8K gold lead. They got all them dragons for the soul. They've had barons at this point, and now Dignitas. It's still the same win strategy as before. Can we get a 5v5 where we can try and throw something at them and get a pick? But FlyQuest with their positioning always looking to collapse upon, and here you get the first point of impact with impact as well as Armut. Armut having to throw so much of his HP and ultimate and ghost just to get out. VicLa going for the kill again. Knocked up on the entry, so now on the retreat with the rest of the team.
Yeah, VicLa does get denied. Santorin has been really good with actually denying those dashes with his own ulti, knocking VicLa out of them pretty consistently in a lot of these fights. Actually peel for his team, keep them alive. You can tell the impact doesn't play with Prowler's Claw a lot because he didn't even use it in that combo. When he went off his ulti, used his full combo on Armut, didn't even use the Prowlers. So you can tell he's a gore drinker man himself.
Which are you?
Me? I'm not a Renekton player, so I'm neither.
You're out of that race.
Yeah.
No crocodile waves for you. But I mean, right here, whatever build you got, whatever angle you're going for, FlyQuest feels so good about it.
I mean, they're just gonna be looking for Elder at this point. The fact that they haven't pushed in means that they are just playing for Elder. Still playing for that Flame Horizon. Spica hunting around for some more camps. Just needs 5 more CS to hit it. Maybe he'll just ult mid-wave, steal that away.
Spent a lot of time there on bot just doing exactly that. You guys have mid controlled, it's all good. Just looking for my farm up, and Dignitas continuing to be corralled in the exact space they have existed before, around that mid lane with their little cluster of wards, while watching for any VicLa or impact that wants to go for the opposing angle.
I mean, when you're this late in the game and you're this far behind, Elder is your only hope, right? And even then, it would be very, very difficult. But Elder can sometimes be that great equalizer. Impact is unanswered on the inhib, so Dignitas needs to do something now. They're the ones that are really forced to try to start this up. It looks like Armut's gonna go back to answer. They're actually having a TP because potentially he's gonna end the game. He's just killing the Nexus turrets.
Yeah, he's on it. VicLa is there as well. It's Armut here against the onslaught, and in turn, Impact going down, but the whole fight going over towards the Dragon side, but Impact and the team, they are on the Nexus. VicLa and Impact looking to get this dub for FlyQuest against Dignitas, who can't do nothing about it.
They want the kills.
They want all the fun. They said, wait, Spica didn't get to build his book yet, but they don't care. FlyQuest with the win.
FlyQuest takes them down. This one was feeling like a foregone conclusion for a very long time, but 35 minutes in, they do close it out. FlyQuest, a very dominant win here off of what can only be described as a tragic early game for Dignitas. Spica being able to get that smite on the red buff, chasing Santorin out. Armut comes down to try to help his jungler who was being chased out. VicLa gets up there, Impact gets down, Impact ends up with multiple kills. You know, they're able to get so much from that situation, especially when Armut's playing without TP, that they just put Dignitas in an almost unwinnable position right from the word go, and they just never let their foot off the gas pedal. They're so adept at actually pushing the game forward, at continuing to grow their advantages, you know, even when they are having a little bit of fun, even when they are messing around with their builds, they are still expanding that lead non-stop, taking down towers, stealing away camps, and that is why the gold graph the entire game is up and to the right. There was just never a realistic chance for Dignitas to get back in this, even when we saw them, you know, win some little scraps and get a kill back here or there.
Exactly. A lot of those kills here and there were kind of isolated incidences, but when you saw the team in full and the way that FlyQuest were able to set it up, often with VicLa and Impact positioning very premierly, it worked out for FlyQuest. And for Dignitas' side, it's one of those things where you almost feel like because there's the good inflation feeling of the day before if we finally got the win, it hits the gut that much harder at the start of the game, where it goes like that. And you're like, I mean, everything that was good in our brain ripped in a moment's time.
These are hard games to play. They are really hard to play. When you're losing like a game like that, and everyone's been in those games where it goes so tragic from level 1, but playing out that kind of game as a pro is tough. Everyone knows on Dignitas, as soon as that topside skirmish happens, that they have probably lost the game, right? But you've got to play it out for 30 more minutes and really try to find ways to come back in. And you kind of know that anything you attempt, anything you look for is going to look bad, because there's no good place to really be had from that situation. So, you know, your heart definitely goes out to them a little bit. You know, FlyQuest obviously having some fun with it on the other side, you know, going full AP Amumu and stuff and messing around a little bit. But definitely, you know, another great win for them and a great debut weekend from Eyla.
Yeah, Eyla coming on in, it's something that we were tracking very, very closely, and coming through with a victory is a good way to start. And we are going to be joining Raz and, what do you know, Eyla for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you, guys. I got Eyla finally back into the LCS. Oh, I mean, honestly, this is your first time in the LCS as a starter for a team. So just talk me through that. Like, welcome. Just like, how does it feel being on this stage?
Oh, I'm very, very happy to be here. It's been a long time coming. I've been just spending my time on the side lanes, just watching and being unable to do much to help the team. So, yeah, honestly, really happy, but the past week has been very crazy. I haven't gotten time to like reflect on what it's been like or how I'm feeling. I've just kind of tried to play my best every day, and yeah, hopefully I've proven that.
I mean, it shows, at least in this game, absolutely. And a question that I have is kind of digging into that a little bit, because I've been in visa prison. That does not feel good. Like, I was giving feedback, and I was also just like working on random hobbies, learning chess. Like, tell me about the time that you had. What were you doing to preoccupy yourself? Were you in tune with the team, like giving feedback at the time, or were you just like biding your time and waiting, keeping your mental stable?
I think a big part was trying to stay sane. It's like a very tough time, being all by yourself in a different country, but I think I spent my time playing solo queue and watching all the scrims that we played. I would watch through all the games and kind of imagine myself in that position. What would I do? You know, how would I think? Like, how would I react to my teammates' comms? What would I say? And I think sort of trying to be the best possible person I can be, or like be as ready as I can be for the time that I come back, was what kept me going through those times. So yeah, I think it was not easy, and for those that experience it, I know how it feels. It's very, very tough.
Yeah, and I guess you mentioned it, especially with how well it felt like the 2v2 this game is. I know you probably would be thinking through it and you'd be looking back at it. It feels like you guys got off the ground running, but like you said, this was a hectic week in terms of practice and scrims. And how was it just basically finding alignment, building synergy with Prince with only 1 week, and it's in week 5? Like, that's a lot of time wasted, basically, it feels like, being on the same page with your AD carry.
Yeah, I think because we had a Korean bootcamp prior to my visa issues, a lot of the synergy or like problems that we would have faced were sort of ironed out in Korea, or at least we had a good idea of what it would be like coming in. So I think I was not too unprepared, but I think just Prince is so good that I can make many mistakes and still be okay in the game. So I'm very thankful he's my ADC. And yeah, just it's thanks to him that I'm keeping up.
There we go. And I mean, I guess for people out there that don't know you, because a lot of the build-up that you had was, of course, in the OPL, and then, of course, in Academy. I'm just wondering, for people out there, tell me about your strengths. Because when I watch your gameplay, it's not necessarily on Lulu, it's in engage options. Like you're set ulting in to start a fight, or we're not ulting to start a fight. I would say it's your engages. What would you say for people out there to know a little bit more about yourself? Like, what do you bring to FlyQuest or the teams in the past that you pride yourself on?
I try to play everything. I think a big thing that I pride myself on is my ability to adapt and change to what the team needs. So last year in Academy, I was a very big shot caller for the team. I did play my fair share of enchanters, but I also played playmaking too. But I think on this team, I'm the rookie. Everyone's really smart around me. I can't be that kind of same shot caller that I used to be. So on this team, I'm trying to learn as much as I can, really focus on like my mechanics and what I can provide to the team. You know, when Spica wants to make a play or something, I provide info. I try to make sure I'm on time. You know, and yeah, I'm just trying to do as much as I can as a rookie.
I like that. And I guess the last question, kind of crazy. You spawn in, you're now 10-1. Not a lot of players get that opportunity, right? And people say it's pressure, but it seems like you're just coming into a position, just learning what you got to learn. Would you say it's more pressure being in a position where you are top of the table, top of the league, and you're in a new role? And on top of that, like, yeah, mostly just ask that question. I think is simple enough.
Yeah, I think I don't credit myself for the 10-1 score. To me, I'm 2-0. Mm-hmm. I think Winston did a really great job filling in my shoes, and I thank him for that. But the pressure I feel doesn't come from that, actually. I think the pressure my teammates give me is already too much. It by far outweighs anything else from the outside world that could ever affect me. So every day I'm just hoping I can meet my teammates' expectations and don't really think too much about anything else.
There it is. I mean, that sounds like great training for the path ahead, path to playoffs. Thanks a lot, Eyla, for this interview. It's amazing to see you here again. And for the people out there, we're going to be going straight to the LCS Lounge. There we go. I got that one right. See you guys soon.
Thank you, Raz.
You almost messed that up.
It was perfect. We're going to pull up the Samsung SSD Fast 5 for this week as Raz heads back to join us. A reminder that Samsung is partnered with Sleeper and Fantasy LCS, and you can now earn bonus points each week for correctly predicting the fastest performers. Congrats to those of you who have claimed that reward this week. Let's take a look at this.
Alrighty, Eyla showing up for the first weekend and making it to the prestigious Samsung SSD Fast 5 item transformation for supports. Big ups to him.
Yeah, I'm also looking at fastest kill FBI being at 716. Very not bloody week for ADCs.
Yeah.
I think it's just so much Lulu Zeri, and people have learned that matchup so many times. You're not surprising people with Lucian Nami all-ins at like 3 minutes anymore.
No, if I was gonna give it to anything, it's probably Gory's fastest mythic. He had a pretty insane weekend.
Also,
Damn, I thought, okay, never mind.
You made it. What?
They did it with the graphic up. I thought I would get it.
Oh, you thought you're in perfectly.
You got it.
That's
You got
what
it.
works. It works.
You're here.
All right, I cut someone off.
Okay, this begins our post-Week 5 podcast. If you're on YouTube, which most of you are, you see FlyQuest being in first, but there's streaks. This was a week of streaks. So Golden Guardians being tied for third at 7-4 after being tied for 10th at 0-4.
That's insane.
Just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they had really difficult opponents this week as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up is like, this was the moment they wanted, right? They really, every time we talked to these players, they were like, we want the do-over of facing the top teams so people will start to take us seriously. Because previously it was like, oh, they faced all the top teams when they were 0-4. Is that better? Is that worse? And then they were able to go on their win streak after that. So I think this is a massive like momentum shift for them.
Yeah, and it's like the fans and us as analysts realigning with what their goals are. Mm-hmm. Because it's always crazy when you're going on a 0-4, but you say, we don't want to create excuses for our losses with Gory not being here, and that we want to win, like everyone says we want to be LCS champions, right? And our goal is the top, but you're like, we don't see the same things you guys do. And then Gory comes in, they look amazing with Gory, obviously, and they just find this insane streak where it is challenging a lot of our preconceived notions of, yes, Golden Guardians throughout its history being a successful organization, but also just this year starting off 0-4, setting basically an idea. So that to me is crazy that we have to reset our thoughts this way into the split?
I mean, this was a really exciting split because we were like, oh, so many people could actually win the championship this time. And we listed a bunch of teams, and none of them were Golden Guardians. And so it's cool now to be like, they're actually dark horses for the championship. They just beat the number 2 and number 3 team this week in C9 and EG. They did it pretty convincingly. It wasn't like the enemy teams burger flipped it away from them. Like, they were contending the entire early games, actually continued to have great early games. And now they have a number of players, as we started doing our All-Pros this week, where we're like, we submitted these at the start of the week, but at the end of the week, we probably would put some more Golden Guardians members into, like, River, potentially best jungler, Gory, maybe breaking into best mid. You know, Stixay is up there in top 380 carries. It's really impressive.
Yeah, this Golden Guardians team feels different to me than other surprise teams of the past.
Like CLG last summer?
Yeah, maybe CLG last summer. Actually, even FlyQuest last, I think it might have been spring. When they won a bunch of games with the Afromu Takui roster with Jose Diodo, and it just didn't feel real to me. There's been so many teams like this, like Clutch, I'd almost say, from like 2018.
Even though they made Worlds?
Yeah.
No, not that Clutch.
No, that's 2019.
That was 2019.
Yeah, 2019 Clutch. That was the Huni Clutch. I'm talking about the, like, I think it was like a solo
the line clutch.
Cody Sun
we
clutch.
joked, we called them the line.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like 8-3 or something, and they were in 3rd place, and you're like, you better take us seriously.
We're like, no.
Yeah, it's because I'm thinking about the resume of the players that are actually on Golden Guardians, and it is, if these players are able to reach the form that they've hit previously even, they're a very good team, right? River was such a dominant player with Worlds experience previously to joining Golden Guardians. Stixay, we memed the interviews earlier in the show, but he had MSI performance like 6 or 7 years ago. Actually seems like he's close back to that level. Who he's made 3 straight LCS finals as a support. And he's a great leader. And I think you can even see 100 Thieves is possibly even less organized than they would have been last year, despite all the acquisitions they made. And it's looking more like the Golden Guardians team. Like, all these guys are looking more legit and have the resumes. So there's actually not a big reason not to believe that this team can do well, other than the fact that none of us saw it 5 weeks ago.
Yeah. I also think, like, none of us saw it because there were so many other larger signings, right? Because, like, you think of Gory coming in, right? And he had a shaky LPL season, but then when he was in PCS, he did really well. Way previously, he was hyped as a T1 trainee. So, like, I mean, that was before his start. But, like, it's really cool that all of these players coming together, we now get to talk about their stories, because I think every single player has a very interesting road to get here. And to your point, so much more experience than I think we gave this roster credit for initially.
Yeah, and Stixay for me is the one that is the craziest one, because we've seen so many players that go through a similar cycle of, you hit a peak that not a lot of players get to have. They then, of course, go through a lot of misfortune. And in his case, was a coach. Like, he was going to be put in a position where he's like a player coach. And it seemed like effectively was done with competitive, which is crazy. And then actually has an insane time in academy with Chime, and then moves up, and he reignites, he says it, he reignites his passion for playing League of Legends, like, or at least playing competitively. And so for him to find that love for the game, come back in, stick with it, and then now have really strong laning phases with Huhi, somebody he's worked with in the past, is something I would never see. Doesn't matter how many times it's happened. It's like,
Did you have one more point on this?
No, I
have one more point. I want to hear your thoughts on this. I do worry, maybe even, we're giving them a ton of credit now. Reddit's giving them a ton of credit now. I've definitely seen this pattern before, where a team, like, pats themselves on the back, takes a deep breath, and then loses their edge. Possibly even FlyQuest might still be undefeated if people didn't start asking them questions about how they're going to get enough practice for international competition before they lose to TSM. I even saw some of their coaches tweeting last night, like, are we for real yet? It's like, unanimously, everyone's going to say yes now. Now can you take it the next step? Because I think there's a difficult letdown that they need to guard against now that they've basically gotten people to say they're good.
Especially with a catch-up effect. Like, FlyQuest experienced it, but there's going to be teams that have the players that can do it. Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, they went up against each other. They have great players. And they will, at some point in this split, figure themselves out and will be competitive with you. So learning when you are unreasonably far behind
is actually quite easy because you're learning off of other teams, you're figuring out how to work with each other. Whereas if you're now figuring, like, if you're Golden Guardians in this case, but mostly, like, I guess more so to FlyQuest, you're, like, at the top, you're like, how far can we go when we're still doing really well in scrims? We feel like we're great. So, yes, that pressure of improvement isn't there necessarily, or at least maybe it still is right now, but if they continue that success, then they might lose their edge.
Speaking of other streaks, two ended.
Okay.
Golden Guardians continued, but 100 Thieves and Dignitas both broke their loss streaks.
Hey! Everybody's a winner.
Dignitas will see how much they can continue to win from here. But at least for 100 Thieves, I interviewed Bjergsen after the game, and you could just tell that this was, like, getting to them. You know, like, he was like, it was intense recently, and he was like, it's kind of good, you know, that we all take it so seriously, but also, you know, it's kind of like, you could tell that it was a big, like, thank God we finally broke it, and, like, hopefully, like, maybe there's, like, a little bit of a mental concern that was, like, living in the back of their minds about the loss streak when you have double-elimination coming out of retirement. You know you have all this talent around you, but you just aren't winning games. And he said that they were maybe being a little bit too inactive. They weren't getting to team fights. They were like, we know we're great team fighters, but we just keep getting there, like, so much gold down that it doesn't matter and stuff like that. So I hope that this helps rebound after, like, what seemed like was beginning to become a hurdle.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of 2020 summer TSM when double-elimination had the really bad split on 9th place Team Liquid, went to TSM, rejoined up with Bjergsen. It honestly feels super close to the same for me, where they need to play themselves back into shape. And for that team, like, it didn't turn on until down 0-2 losers bracket of the playoffs before they made their miracle run. So I don't think it's going to get much easier. Like, I think that's their process in a sense. Like, with double-elimination taking 2 years off and reintegrating the system that they've ran to win many championships, like, it's not guaranteed to still work, and they're going to have to fight and refine it, I think, kind of the whole split.
It also is really interesting because we talk about, I think, how volatile playing best of ones is. And we, going into this year, we're like, LCS is super hyped because we have all these really good players coming in. We have these players returning. We have a bunch of really interesting team build exercises and team building, right? And I actually think that giving up some of these losses really hurts now when you look at where the standings are at behind us,
the
right?
loser of that TL 100 Thieves game was going to be alone in 8th.
Yeah.
So now TL is alone in 8th, which is disastrous. Another one I want to point out is EG, even though they're technically tied for 3rd, they did lose both games, and it also comes off the least impressive 3-0 Super Week from week 4. Like, literally last week they had multiple games that we felt like they should have lost, and we're like, but they won them, and they are EG, so it's fine, but it's not fine?
Yeah.
How worried do you think EG is?
It's hard to say because this is, like, somewhat reminiscent of their spring last year where they were 9-9, and they were kind of running it a little bit. You know, you're like, and then they win playoffs, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, some teams get this, like, aura of, like, it's hard to criticize them because you know how talented they are. You've seen them do it before, and if you doubt them, you're going to look dumb in 3 weeks when they're in finals or something. Right. And, like, I think they have that trust earned that, like, I'm not quite ready to doubt them, but, like,
you are doubting them. You're just like, I don't want to be.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to speak it into existence. But
and a lot of the concerns we have right now, one in concerning their draft, is literally the same thing we were concerned with in that regular season. So they'll figure it out. It's the drafts, it's mid-games, like, basically moments where they int, and it's like, okay, but I know that those things you can get disciplined on and really work at, what works for you in the draft, but also just not putting yourself in poor situations in mid-game. Like, I think they'll get back on it, so I'm not too concerned, but they do need a kick in the butt, and I feel like Golden Guardians is turning out to be that kick.
Hell yeah, tied for 3rd.
There it is.
What is CLG's win rate or win streak? Are they on a streak?
They 2-0'd. So they 2-0 and they 2-1 Super Week with a loss at the end.
Oh, so
they're 4 of their last 5, but only a 2-game win.
Okay, that's why I was like, are they actually insane? But no, they're not.
They're mid.
They're mid.
What the hell?
Wait, but they're alone in 5th with a winning record. They're good. Yep. But they're just not on a streak, so we can't talk about them.
Yeah, okay. MasterCard Player of the Week this week is River.
Bang!
Wow.
River and Gory, for us, was the clear choice. I voted for Gory. I'm not sure what you guys did, but we take the opinions of all of the broadcast talent. So I think both of these are respectable. I hear the vote was 5-4.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it was
a
super
tight one.
close.
Are we all Wait, were we?
We were the Gory.
We were the four?
Wait, we were the
voting
four
block.
Gories?
Which means everyone else was the River voting block.
I'll put on my River hat. Okay, I actually do love watching River's early pathing, where he ends up going, because he is and can be so thoughtful about where he is showing up, what the state of his lanes are, the communication between him and this team, because previously when he was on Dig, you would see these moments where he is doing technically the correct thing, but he might not be on the same page with the rest of the team. This seems like such an ideal situation for a jungler as intelligent as River is.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that someone from Golden Guardians was clearly going to win was the strength of their opponents. The fact that they beat them pretty handily. Both EG and C9 was pretty much Golden Guardians winning the entire time. And it was mostly off the back of River and Gory. So it made them two very obvious candidates to debate over. You can say maybe Gory, I think, maybe had the better C9 game. I think River had the better EG game. That's why it was so split. Both of them just had an incredible weekend.
Yep, I mean, one person that has to be happy about this is Dom.
Oh, yeah, sure. Right, yeah,
there it is.
Fearless.
And it's crazy because the one thing, I'm not even, like, I know we all voted Gory here and then probably had River second.
Yep.
Who's going to be mad at that? Like, River has been exceptional since coming to North America and has winning lanes. Like, he has lanes in which he can play through. Stixxay and who have been great. Him and Gory, we've been singing praises for. So it's like his early pressure is amounting to something. Them clearing vision is turning into, like, legitimate wins. And so they're a strong and dominant team because of River. So we need to see more of that.
Back-to-back player of the weeks for Golden Guardians.
True.
Damn.
Yeah.
Stixxay River. Prevented Prince from getting one.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. Prince
my
doesn't get
God.
his third. I do want to figure out how we can gerrymander an extra electoral vote for the Analyst Lounge.
We need one more.
I think, actually, I would say that we run the biggest risk of just, like, single braining it because we're talking all day off camera, whereas the other groups are all, like, in their little pods.
True.
We are the most dangerous voting block.
Maybe River's the correct one. Let's check out the schedule for next week. Week 6 of the LCS Spring Split starts off with FlyQuest versus CLG, TSM versus EG. That 100 Thieves Cloud9 game is spicy. And the Golden Guardians TL, if they go to 8-4 while knocking TL to 4-8, that's really going to start solidifying these standings. That's a dangerous game.
Those games are all boring. I'm looking at number 5, Dignitas versus
Banger alert!
I've been saying off camera that I actually think there's a realistic chance that Dignitas comes back and rallies a little bit and gets over Immortals. I feel like Dignitas had, like, hit the bottom emotionally, and with the Tomo pickup, have been looking better. Whereas Immortals have looked a little rough in the recent weeks. I actually think Dig's gonna climb over them in the standings, but in the second round robin.
Dude, I gotta say, being here for like 10 hours a day every show day changes the way we see exciting games. Because I think most people
I think everyone at home is
9
excited
versus
too.
10. I wonder why they put it 5th. And you're like, listen, I really want to see
Twitch
what
chat's
happens.
with me. I can see
Entertainment.
Twitch chat now. When I close my eyes, they're all just like based Giga chat. That's all I see.
NACL starts tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's it. Week 5 is over. We'll see you in week 6.
Here's your pen.
Thanks, man.
Get it.
Long range.
I don't know. My vibes are ruined.
The vibes?
Vibes are ruined.
Not the vibes, man.
I have a bad feeling.
I'm gonna look poster for you.
No. Change the vibe. Change
the vibe. Just change it.
Boogie's the next target. Trying to find some way out of here. Flashes over the wall. Flash follow. The man knows no fear. The MNS being so strong, poking around. If he sees that back line, there he is. That's all it takes. The flash of the distortion cast to guarantee it. MNS, he gets another one. He's just making fools out of him. Arrow comes around as Sven and Berserker can reinforce their mid laner. MNS just danced on their graves. All out on Luger, who uses the spell shield to block the knockback. Oh, Luger's nearly dead, and Tactical guarantees it with a nice use of the bullet time. Doko decides to enter into the fight, but he's a bit separated from everybody else. Tactical nearly dies, walking away still for now, but the demonic embrace is burning. Revenge being focused down by 2. The damage damage goes through. It's Contract's burn that kills off Tactical. It is a 5-0 ace. And the end of the game for CLG. Now Evil Geniuses might have an angle to fight back, but as soon as they try, Inspired's in the middle of 4. FBI has to disengage. Inspired's killed first and JoJo goes right after. Stixay may have been stunned, but there ain't enough damage left. They don't got the bullets, they don't got the man, they don't got any way to fight back. Inspired and Stixay are isolated, but Zeri's not in the middle of the fight. Stixay grabs the first kill, but now can Someday get anything back? No, he can't. Stixay's right back into the melee, and Golden Guardians just kill everybody. It's an ace.
Stole in full vicinity, looking onto Harry. Double hit on top of him. Almost goes down. Finally eliminated. Pioshik into stasis in the middle of the fight. A polymorph onto Summit is not enough to keep him down. Double it going for the members. Steps back from the Aqua Prison. Flashes forward for Yun. Stasis, he goes after getting the kill onto Core JJ. And Pioshik soon to fall. Coming back from the GA. But Harry, will he give his life with the rest of the team? 100 Thieves says, I think so.
Yeah, we're gonna move first. Wait, nice. Keep on. Yeah. Go, keep on. We're nice here. We're on lightning spread. No flash. Okay, nice. No flash. Q. You have Q? Q is 6. Okay, we can say 4. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Yep. Kill. Nice. Good. The guy's good. I go base.
He's on it. VicLa is there as well. It's Armut here against the Onslaught, and in turn, Impact going down, but the whole fight going over towards the Dragon side, but Impact and the team, they are on the Nexus. VicLa and Impact looking to get this dub.
Do some Garner.
We had a...
Where's your stinger?
I don't yeah. Yes! Let's go! I don't know.
Cue it. You're queuing.
Yeah, we gotta cue him. Remember, when you attack a champion, you queue fast. You said,